The bad news is that Britt Baker is having problems with everybody apparently. So let's start the list, okay? Let's start the list. Who does Britt Baker have a problem with? Thunder Rosa. Let's see. She has a problem with Mark Henry. Mark Henry does not like her on record. Let's see who else. MJF, Will Ospreay, and apparently now Jamie Hayter, according to what Sean Rossap said. So he didn't really give specific or give any details, but he did insinuate that there may be a problem per se between Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter. I'm not surprised at all. They work together, and we work with Britt Baker. Chances are something might go down. So here is Sean talking about the situation between Britt and Jamie Hayter potentially.
Yeah, I don't know if there will be any integration with Britt Baker. I feel like that ship has sailed interpersonally for those two.
Okay.
Is best I'll say there. Yeah, I don't know if there will
whatever that means. So Britt Baker, there seems to be a bit of a common denominator. She's a problem. Britt Baker is a problem. And she has one of those attitudes or those personalities, potentially, I don't know her, but it appears there seems to be a situation where she has a personality that rubs folks the wrong way. And everybody seems to have a problem with her in some way or some form. From the dudes to the chicks, okay? From the Mark Henrys to the Thunder Rosas to the freaking MJFs to the freaking Jamie Hayters. She is a common denominator here. And I don't know. It's interesting that she came back yesterday. She was back, and MJF and Will Ospreay were not on the card. I'm not saying those two things are related, but we did not see MJF. We did not see Will Ospreay, and now she's back and she made a return. Will she be off TV next week when they come back? I don't know. But it seems to be a problem every time she's around. I don't know. Maybe I'm looking too much into it. But speaking of Britt Baker, I remember somebody on Twitter saying that, oh, she's fat bound. I'm not sure why Triple H and the WWE will be interested in Britt Baker right now. She is not a draw per se. She's a big name in terms of AEW. Like in respect to AEW, she's a big name. But beyond that, I mean, she's not the best worker in the world. Not like CM Punk situation. Somebody compared it to CM Punk is not even close to the same thing. CM Punk is a made man. He's a draw. She has issues in the locker room. Sure, she gets along with Bayley. She's friends with Bayley. Now, I don't see where she'd fit in with the WWE. From a booking standpoint, she's fine on the mic. But yeah, I'm not sure. I don't think Triple H is in a rush to go grab Britt Baker, considering the talent they have down in NXT. So much talent, so much athleticism, so much people they're building up down there. If you're not bringing something interesting to the table, for example, Julia, when it comes to her Japan roots, marketing over there, and that star power internationally, globally, they can do stuff with Julia. Stephanie Vaquer speaks Spanish, star, aura, right? They can do stuff with her in those Spanish-speaking markets in Mexico and down in South America. You can use Julia. You can use Stephanie Vaquer. Delta, a good worker with a blank canvas in terms of any issues. They can bring her in. Not a huge name, right? But they build her up. Great in the ring, Delta is. What is Britt Baker bringing to the table that would have them rush out there to, you know, make a splash for Britt Baker? I'm not seeing it. So I think Tony Khan likes her enough, but if she's not careful, she needs to be like, she could be on the outs. But again, I think Tony Khan is a fan of hers. She has Tony Khan's ear. They have a good relationship. So she'll be fine with Tony Khan at least. But she needs to be careful with how many bridges she seems to be burning here, because she's a common denominator and everybody has a problem with her right now, from what I'm understanding. Again, I don't know the backstage situation. I don't know the truth of the matter. Again, she's friends with Bayley. She's friends with a lot of people backstage with WWE. Backstage, I mean the talent. She's friends with a lot of the talent. She's friends with Chelsea Green. So they'll vouch for her. But ultimately, from a booking standpoint, she's not bringing anything to the table here. She's not bringing anything internationally, like a Spanish-speaking country or like a Japanese country like Julia and Stephanie. She's not a great in-ring worker. So what is she going to bring to the main roster? Like, what, you're going to push her to the title? No. There's so many better in-ring performers. She needs to make sure she keeps her ducks in a row and make sure AEW is there for her, because I think that's her best bet. I'm not seeing this big run for her in WWE. I don't see it. I think AEW is the best it gets for Britt Baker. So let's not ruin that for yourself. AEW is a good spot for you. You're the first woman they ever signed. Let's make sure you don't mess things up for yourself down there. And no, get along with folks. Because again, it's always coming back to you. She's like a mean girl. Like the mean girl situation in high school. There's always an issue. She's always around trouble. And when you're always around trouble, it's probably because of you. All right. Now, speaking of Britt Baker, if you were Triple H or Shawn Michaels, would you be interested in Britt Baker? That's the question I asked the chat. If you are a Triple H or Shawn Michaels, you see Britt Baker having issues, if she becomes a free agent, would you sign her, yes or no? Who do you think is better between Jade or Britt in terms of overall talent? Jade. Jade can talk on the mic. She looks like $1 million, and she's athletic. She has more upside in the ring. Jade, not even close. Jade is the better prospect for the future, without question. Britt Baker like 3 years older than her, right? I think Jade is like 31. Jade Cargill, or 32. She's like 1 year younger. She's younger. She's stronger. Had more aura. Better looking athlete. Good on the mic as well. Jade is fine. Jade is a way better prospect than Britt Baker. Not even close. You can work with a Jade. Bottom line, she looks like $1 million. Like no matter how you cut it, he looks amazing. You can work with that. Britt Baker, good looking chick, of course, can talk on the mic, but what is she giving you beyond that? Like the star power is not on the same level. It just isn't. With all the talent out there in the women's division, with Megan Bain out there, bringing in Julia, bringing in Stephanie, bringing in Delta, you're not in a rush to bring in Britt Baker whatsoever. Yeah, it's an interesting situation for Britt. But hopefully she figures it out because, again, I think AEW is her best bet. You don't want to mess that up too much. Britt Baker would not fit in the WWE. The talent level is too high. Yeah, I agree with you. So speaking of Britt Baker, there was a match to open up the show. So now we're going to dive a little bit into Dynamite. Mercedes Moné is in the ring, and then you see Britt Baker in the crowd taking her a sweet time to walk down to the ring. I'm like, why are you walking to the ring? Shouldn't you be in a hustle to get to the ring before Camille realizes that it's not you under that damn mask? At any point, she could have moved the damn mask and said, oh, it's not Britt Baker. Where she is? Where is she? Can a real Britt Baker please stand up, you know? But no, that's not what happened. She strolls down, take her sweet time to get in the ring. She gets to the apron, slowly gets in the ring, and then she tries to deliver the lockjaw. Instead of just beating up Mercedes, you finally got your hands on her, tries to give her the lockjaw, and she's all smiling, looking for the camera. She looks dead for the camera, dead set in the camera to get that money shot. Here's the better one right here. She takes her time and looks straight into the camera, and that gives Camille some time to grab Mercedes Moné. She pushes Britt Baker off of Mercedes. Instead of just kicking her ass right there, it's 2-on-1. He drags Mercedes out of the ring. It just wasn't a very good segment that was produced there. Camille's not looking as good as she should. The way this was executed, they don't want Camille to attack Britt Baker, but the way this is structured, it made no sense for her not to just attack Britt Baker in the ring. Once she pushed Britt Baker off of Mercedes, she should have beat her ass right there. But she drags her out, and then she tries to get back in the ring. But at that point, she has the kendo stick. Britt Baker does, so she doesn't want to engage. It just wasn't very good in terms of making Camille look like a badass. It didn't work. Between the dynamic between Britt and Mercedes Moné was fine. I just had a problem with Britt Baker taking a sweet time to get to the ring and trying to put it on the lockjaw. It just didn't work.
Kip up.